Hey everyone, it's the interview queen Alicia Atout here, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to my interview with Holly Humberstone. Hello, welcome.
Hey Alicia, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here chatting with you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for taking the time. I've been vibing with your music so much, especially as of late. So I'm just really hyped to have you on my show. So I kind of feel like the appropriate question is just how is life treating you, being bored, ignored, and out of your mind?
I feel like it's definitely switched since I wrote that song. I'm definitely not bored. I have a lot going on. I'm feeling like just more than anything, like so lucky to kind of be busy and to be getting to kind of release my music and I'm coming on tour. I think I'm leaving in like 2 weeks or something, and I get to come visit you guys up in Canada. So yeah, I'm just excited to see what's gonna happen this year.
It's so exciting because there really is so much on the horizon. We'll definitely get into a little bit of tour talk in a moment. But of course, you've been slowly working on your debut record. And I know that going into creating the debut album, you were kind of terrified at the thought, of course, really excited. So, what about it did truly terrify you? Was it the vulnerability aspect, just kind of being a perfectionist?
I think it was just the sort of me just being like a perfectionist and wanting everything to be perfect. And I also think like just the word album is just kind of terrifying for some reason to me. Because there's so many amazing artists who have released like a really iconic debut album. And I want it to be the best that I can be, and everything kind of in um yeah my first album to be just like to represent me and my stories perfectly. So yeah, I think I've been writing for like the last few months, and yeah, I think I've got a few songs that I'm really obsessed with. But hopefully I can kind of continue to write, and someone's just gonna have to say stop at some point and tell me like stop writing, because I'll just carry on, and I just kind of continuously just want to beat myself and write better songs and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm excited for when it finally does kind of come together. And yeah, I'm just feel so lucky that I get to even put an album together and release it. So yeah, it's
I
cool.
always love whenever someone talks about their music and they get so excited and just caught up in the actual thought of the fact like a debut is literally potentially around the corner. Like just seeing your excitement is so much fun. But when it
Yeah.
comes to the tunes, I mean, your single "London is Lonely" is just such a stunning song, and the lyrics are so relatable, especially with what a lot of us are going through right now. So, had you kind of
Mhm.
simply had enough of being alone when quarantine was happening? Did it simply come from genuinely missing somebody?
So I it's so weird how time can kind of change the meanings of the songs, and how like they can kind of evolve and mean something like one day, and then 2 weeks later it can mean something completely different. Like the same thing kind of happened with a song that I wrote called The Walls Are Way Too Thin. I wrote it before the pandemic, and then we went into I kind of wrote it about feeling kind of trapped and claustrophobic, and then we went into the pandemic, and of course people were actually like physically trapped in their tiny little flats in like big cities. But yeah, I wrote the song London is Lonely before the pandemic, or it was kind of before it like fully kind of exploded here in the UK. And yeah, I'd moved to London, and just on my own into an area that I didn't know. Or I didn't know anything really about London at all, like let alone the area that I was living in. But yeah, I didn't really have any friends down here. I just kind of moved so that I could write and just try and grow up a little bit and become a little bit more kind of independent, and kind of just get to work with like my career and stuff. And yeah, I just found that there's so much going on here, and I think this is the same with a lot of big cities. But yeah, there's so much chaotic stuff going on kind of out on the streets, and I think there's so many people here, and for some reason it can just feel really isolating if you feel like you don't really belong. And I haven't really had that much time to kind of settle here and make it kind of feel more kind of my home. So yeah, I actually moved back home for COVID. I moved back up to the countryside, and I like sat down at the piano, and the piano that I'd kind of written on a lot whilst I was growing up, and I'd started songwriting on, and like the song just kind of, it honestly was like, I find it really hard to write songs a lot of the time, but this song just felt like it kind of needed to be written. And yeah, it was just so therapeutic to kind of get all of my feelings about, yeah, feeling isolated and like a complete alien in London. Yeah, I'm glad that it's finally out, because it's kind of, the meaning for it to me, and I think to a lot of other people, has kind of changed as well, because of like, obviously because of the whole pandemic, like
Right.
the streets are literally completely empty, and yeah, it's so weird.
I always love when a track comes out of somebody kind of feeling like they have a moment alone or something that they want to get through. And then it just ends up being somehow so relatable to literally like thousands of people, you know? Clearly, music for you and turning to songwriting is such a vice when you are feeling alone. But is there anything else that you use or that you kind of turn to when you're like, man, I'm down. I just need to distract myself for a moment?
Mm. Honestly, like I think songwriting is my thing, that I know it's like my constant, and it's like my like, yeah, it's just such a comfort space, because I've always kind of used songwriting as therapy, like since I don't think I realized that I was doing it when I was like really young, but I'm sure that that's kind of why I did it when I kind of came home from school as like a 7-year-old or whatever. Um, but yeah, other than songwriting, I think, yeah, just keeping my circle of friends and my family just close. Like I have three
So
sisters, and they're all,
important.
yeah, so important, and they're all like incredible and incredibly supportive. And I think we're all just kind of going through the same sort of thing, really. We're all just kind of trying to figure out, like, early 20s is a confusing time, and we're just kind of trying to figure out what on earth is kind of going on. And yeah, I think the only thing that we can really do is just be there to support each other. And yeah, I think I'm realizing now, as I'm kind of getting busier and I'm having less chance to kind of spend with like these people, how like I'm realizing just how sacred like that time that I have with them is, and like how special it is, and how important it is for me to kind of feel grounded and to feel, yeah, just kind of stable. It just kind of calms me down, and it's so important. Yeah.
Absolutely. And one thing that I wanted to bring up with you is you really do have such a lovely voice, especially on the single that I mentioned. Like your tone is just so nice. So when was the moment that you realized, you know, you could sing and you had a pretty unique voice that you actually wanted to share? Because there is a difference between knowing you have something good and then kind of having the guts and the gumption to be like, all right, it's time to put this out into the world.
This is really funny. I've never been asked this question before, but it's actually so funny to me, because I used to love like singing, like as a little girl. And yeah, as I said, I started off by just kind of writing songs after like primary school and stuff like that. And my voice was like, I don't think I hit puberty until I was like 15. So my
Okay.
voice was like so high pitched, and it was like so squeaky. And I used to try and do all of these like Christina Aguilera like runs. I don't know why. I just thought that was what like singing was.
I love it.
And there's like, yeah, every time I go home, it's so funny. It's so embarrassing. But like every time I kind of go home, like I have like a little listen on the computer, and like of all of these like really hilarious like old like love songs that I wrote when I was like 7, and my voice is just like so squeaky. But I think I only started to kind of realize what I wanted to sound like when I started taking writing more seriously, and I started to actually like be in the room with like a producer and like be properly kind of recording my vocals. And I think even now, like listening to like Falling Asleep at the Wheel, which came out like 2 years ago or something, like I think that I sound completely different now in the tracks that I'm writing today like versus back then, because I just, I don't know, I
You
guess like,
grow. It's bound to
yeah, I'm
happen, right?
changing, and yeah, exactly. But it is really funny, like the little kind of techniques that I used to have, and how my voice is just, I feel like it's kind of settled now, and it's kind of mellowed out, and I kind of want to stick with the less is more approach, and not try and do like all of the like little
No
like
more
runs
Christina
like
Aguilera
that.
runs in your future.
I don't know. I think I couldn't quite grasp it. I couldn't quite get it. And it's sick for some if you can actually do that. But for me, it was just terrible, terrible. Like bless my like my parents and my sisters for having to listen to that whilst I was, yeah, just seeing my little heart out. But yeah, I think it's kind of settled now, and I hopefully it doesn't, I don't damage it too much or something, and I can look after it on tour and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll
Of
see.
course. And since we are kind of talking about the past a little bit, you did share in an interview before from a few years back, like how you used to sit on the computer for hours just looking at music videos. So, do you remember any that really stood out to you, whether for the videos, the artists, or just the songs themselves?
Oh my gosh, yes. I used to love it so much. It's kind of embarrassing. Like I used to be obsessed with like, this is really embarrassing, but I used to be obsessed with um like My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion. I just used to like
Hey,
absolutely blast it.
go
Um
Canada.
yeah, exactly. A Canadian icon. And yeah, I used to just blast that. Who else? Oh, I used to be obsessed with the Backstreet Boys.
Who wasn't?
And I just used to love watching their videos. And I mean, I've got posters of them like in my flat. Like here is some posters of the Backstreet Boys, and there's more. But I won't show them because it's a bit shameful. But I used to love like Rihanna. Like she has so many like incredible like videos, and she was just like, yeah, obviously a goddess and stuff. There must be some that I used to watch over and over again. Um,
Those are
oh,
some
let me
really
have a
good
think.
picks,
Maybe I'll get
though.
back to you. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I mean, I love the Backstreet Boys so much. Who else? Oh, I know, Prince. I used to just be so obsessed with Prince, and I used to just love watching. Like, I think he's just like the coolest. Like, he's just like the human. Like, just the like optimum human. I just think he's the coolest person that ever like lived. And
Yeah.
I just used to love like his video Kiss, and I just remember watching it and just watching him kind of like run around in like the little heels and just being like
It's so
mesmerized by
good.
him. Also the Radiohead videos are all
Those
just
were
like
so
so iconic, and I
captivating,
take a lot of
especially.
inspiration.
Especially
Yeah,
like being so
exactly.
young watching them, you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And the music was so ethereal and different. Like that stuff was amazing.
Exactly, yeah. I take a lot of kind of inspiration from those like Radiohead music videos. Like they're just iconic. Yeah, so sick. Like really simple concepts, but
Mhm.
they're just so
Effective.
effective. The music kind of just speaks. Yeah, exactly. And the music just kind of says it all really. And yeah, I'm a big fan of just rinsing YouTube for videos.
Now, I'm really happy that you brought up some of the posters that are on your wall because I happened to notice a Buffy the Vampire Slayer one in the background of one of your photographs from a couple weeks ago. I'm a
Yeah.
huge Buffy Summers fan. Like, I was obsessed as a kid. So, is that a show that you also happen to love a lot?
Yes, I love that show. I think there are like a few shows that I basically didn't really have a TV growing up because it just wasn't something that I like. I just never had it. So it never really affected me until I like kind of until lockdown, I think. And then I suddenly discovered all of these amazing TV shows,
Okay.
like from like vintage TV shows that I have never like had. And yeah, Buffy was one of them. And yeah, I just became like instantly obsessed with her and like her outfits, and just it's just incredible. I love her. I think I write when I'm feeling kind of uninspired with my kind of personal life. I think watching stuff kind of helps me to kind of think of like stories and scenarios and stuff like that. So yeah, I love kind of yeah, stuff from the early 2000s when the outfits are just like incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear a song of yours about, getting some vampires at the graveyard.
Yeah, of course, about Angel.
I can't wait. Well, the last thing I wanted to ask you about, of course, it was mentioned earlier on, but this spring you will be hitting the road with the iconic Olivia Rodrigo. So just tell me about what ran through your mind the moment that was locked down, because this really is just a massive tour.
I know, it's like a huge just like privilege. I'm so excited. And I think throughout lockdown, especially as kind of like a newer artist, I was kind of basically looking up to so many other kind of musicians, and especially like female musicians I think are just killing it at the moment. And yeah, there were just a handful of like amazing like female musicians that I was just like in awe of throughout lockdown in the past few years, and who have kind of just inspired me to kind of be a better writer, and to just kind of keep kind of going and stuff. And of course, like she was one of them. Like she's amazing. And yeah, I mean, I think I was just in kind of disbelief, and I'm still kind of, I can't believe that I get to really go and kind of share the stage with her. And yeah, I'm just hugely grateful. I think she's an icon. And just excited for the journey, and excited to kind of watch her set every night. I'll definitely be crying my eyes out every night. I'll probably
Oh,
have like golf ball eyes by the end of the tour. But yeah, I'm so excited. Hopefully we get to hang out a bit as well. And yeah, I'll get to see some of Canada and
yeah.
some of America and stuff. I'm so excited.
Oh, that's so lovely. I'm so excited for you. I just want to say thank you so much, Holly, for taking the time for coming on here. You're absolutely lovely, and I just can't wait for everything coming up for you. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been such a pleasure.
Oh, thank you to everyone watching. This has been Holly Humberstone. Definitely be sure to check her out on tour with Olivia Rodrigo, and hit up aliciatout.com for plenty more exclusive interviews and features. We'll see you next time.